The Google Gang Podcast.
About this.
So, why were you so poor?
Why was I so poor? I was... Thank you for a great opening question, by the way. That really puts me in a high status position.
Yeah. You're not poor now. Like
I'm doing okay.
You combed your hair.
I've combed. I get haircuts now. I'm wearing ladies' shirts, which is doing me wonders. I'm just in a very good place. I'm trying to take care of myself now.
Good.
Is the biggest thing. I'm trying to take care of myself. I was poor, as you put it, beforehand because I was putting everything I could into comedy, which I know we're not supposed to talk about, but that was the reason. And I was working really weird jobs. I was a substitute teacher / working for my brother's irrigation company in Canada.
Right.
And then when I came to London, I was supply teaching in all of these terrible London schools and just having my ego
Supply
stomped.
teacher seems like a comedian's job. I know 3 different comedians now that have either been supply teachers or are supply teachers.
It's a real thing because the thing is that it gives you it's an optional thing, so you're always if I get a thing I can just not work that day and then I'll be fine. There's no expectations. You can make the argument that it is helping you with crowd work in a way because you have to manage a room of weird kids, but I don't really think so.
A comedy audience is very different to year 8 mathematics.
I did, when I was back in Alberta and I just started out, I would occasionally I used to teach at basically 2 schools, which was great because everybody knew me and I got along well with everyone, and it changed the because the horrible part about supply teaching is that the kids don't know you, so they don't give a shit about you, so they hate you and they attack you, and you just have to bat them off for 40 minutes, and then you send them out, and then you start the whole thing over again. It
sounds so shit.
It's really terrible. Well, it can be good. Sometimes it's just you just get thrown into really weird situations. So a lot of times you don't really have a good game plan, and it's a hell class, and you just have to endure it for a while. But other times it's just people are taking a test, so you just sit there and watch them while they take a test.
Would it work if you didn't give a fuck? If you walked in and you go, you don't know me, I don't know you, we've got the next hour together, just fucking do whatever you want, really.
No, because what would happen is that it would explode. The place, they would just blow up. People, here's the thing, man. You know what? When you become a father, man.
Here we go.
I am not, but my brothers all have kids and stuff like that. But you need to have, rules in place. Kids like rules in place. Have you ever seen Lord of the Flies?
I know the film, but I haven't watched it. Or if I have, I don't remember.
That's a scenario where they don't have any rules and they murder each other.
Okay. It's kids murdering other kids.
If you leave them alone on an island. That's the moral of that story.
What does it have to do with flies?
Well, what does it have to do with flies?
Is it because the flies eat the dead bodies of the kids that are killed?
I feel there is flies. I just watched this movie for the first time because I know it's a book and then it's a movie that a lot of people have to watch in high school. But my boyfriend in Canada, he was he loved the movie Lord of the Flies. so
watching kids kill other kids.
Well, it was really funny, and then because it's a movie about a book that everybody has to read. Multiple production companies have made versions of Lord of the Flies, and they're all on YouTube. So you can go on, and we were looking around, and we clicked on one of them. And it was oh no, this one's not good. And then we moved to a different one, and we were curating our Lord of the Flies viewing experience, And yeah, it's just, I don't know why it's called that. I just watched a movie this summer, but I don't remember why. I'd imagine it's got something to do with, dead bodies or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the main plot is kids on an island.
Yeah.
There's no rules. One kid takes control and starts killing other kids, and he becomes the king.
Kind of. It's more there's 2 competing kids that are trying to take control. One of them is trying to do it through, ethics and justice and, quarterly meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the other one is fucking just walking around with no shirt and putting war paint on himself and carrying a spear. And everyone's let's go with that guy.
How old are the kids?
They're oh fuck. I think they're all going through puberty. I feel they're between the ages of 12 and 15.
Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah. It's an exciting time.
It's an exciting time in a young man's life.
You know what? You're becoming a man. You're on an island.
That was many years ago for you.
I am. I'm like 33 now.
You're not like 33. You are 33.
Well,
Stop trying to dance around the issue.
Look, I'm love 33. I don't know. I'm just like I feel like it's so weird. You know what the fuck is with this interview? Because you come in here and you're like, hey, so you're poor. Oh, and you're old. Guess what? You're also like, I feel like you're just attacking me, Matt.
It's fun to attack nice people, don't you think? Not even attack, but question.
Questioning is good. You could pick other questions.
You know, attacking my line of questioning.
I am. Because
after I just made a quiche.
You're dissing me. Yeah, you did make a nice quiche.
From Sainsbury's.
Quiches.
Shameless plug.
Oh my god, we just had a new guy move into our flat, and motherfucker made like homemade shawarma last night. He made like all the salady bits that you put in, and he like roasted the lamb and everything. It was crazy.
So where do you
really
live? Do you live with like a bunch of random people?
I do. I feel terrible about it because I've been there for 6 months and I don't know everybody's names. There's only like 5 people living there, and I've not like invested enough time with these people to. I'm always like, I think this guy's either Chris or Kurt, and then there's like 2 Matts in the house, so it gets all confusing.
That's so common with English house shares. Like Dan
Really?
Baines is in the same situation where he lives in a house and there's 6 other people that live there. But like no one speaks to anyone. Whereas I lived in a house share in Australia with 7 people. We had a Facebook group because the suburb we lived in was called Barden, right? So we called ourselves the Bardi Bunch, right? Because we're from Barden.
Right.
Facebook
you guys
group.
are real cool.
Yeah, it was. We had a graphic made up and everything. There was a sloth.
All right, so it was all the faces and the.
Yeah, all the faces, like the Brady Bunch, right? And so we would like eat dinners together. We went and did like an escape room together. We go to concerts together. Like these were like all my friends.
Mate, I think that's now, as an old man, I think that's a young man's game. As an old man, if you're still living in flat shares at a certain point, sometimes you just want to be like, I don't know. Like, I've lived in these flat shares before. I don't know how invested I want to get in this flat share.
But
like,
I lived with like a 32-year-old security guard who was like well up for being friends with all these 18 and 19-year-olds. And there was another guy that was like 26 and he was like working on railways.
Maybe it's just me then. I don't know, because the people in my house, they do tend to hang out, and I'm sure at the minimum, they know each other's names. So it's just you. It's just, well, you know what happened? Okay, so last time that I was in...
Last time I learned someone's name. It didn't end well.
Yeah. I'm honestly so bad at names. And here's the other thing, too. Okay, so I've also, like, bounced from, like... I've spent time in the comedy scenes of, like, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, London, fucking Manchester, and it's so hard to meet a billion people and like get to know everyone. Like honestly, it makes me feel bad because I don't know a lot of people's names, and I like to consider myself a good person, but it turns out I'm just poor and old and forgetful.
Well, everyone, we are talking to Brandon Craig here. If you want to see him live, I don't know where you're going to be. You're a busy guy. The other week, you had a show every night of the week.
I was humming, man. Although that was a good little round of everything. I'm all over the place. I'm at the Comedy Store tonight, of all things. But this is a podcast, so that won't be up tonight.
There's no point. I don't know why I invited you to give dates, because there's no point. Just stop.
Yeah,
let's talk about what we came here to talk about.
What do we want to talk about?
The world of gay sex.
The world of gay... Oh, okay, because I was going to say this thing with this ties into the thing, because the place that I was living at last was that was a weird living situation where we all knew each other intimately, and
you didn't know their names?
I did know their names because I'm a good person, Matt.
Okay. That's good.
Not anymore. I guess.
Is it because you're not fucking your current roommates that you don't care what their names are?
No, it's more the fact that I just like I moved in with friends last time, and this time I moved in with strangers, and I just was not willing to quite invest all the way. They're fine people. I'm just like, I don't know. I just like to be in my room by myself when I'm at home, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. So let's talk about gay sex.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Grindr, firstly.
Right.
Just what's happening? What is actually happening on there? Because it's a world that I've never been a part of, and I don't wish to be a part of, but I'm very interested in.
Okay, so you just want a general overview of Grindr?
Just what happens in there? It's
what
like a.
I mean, what happens in there?
Have you ever seen the film Monsters Inc.?
Yes.
And there's like the room where all the doors are going around, where they're going in to like scare all of the kids, right?
Yeah.
There's sort of like the grinder door that like I don't want to open, but occasionally I might put my ear up to it and just be like, oh, that sounds a bit wild in there.
It's pretty crazy. Well, here's the thing is that I almost feel like Grindr is becoming yesterday's news a little bit. Like a lot of the people that I know that meet a lot of people, like, okay, so I had this thing where I hooked up with a guy about a month ago, and I know it's long. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Hooked up with this dude, and it just turns out that he records a lot of videos of himself fucking, and then he puts it on Snapchat. So he's constantly having like a Snapchat story that's just Snapchat porn. And then people follow him through that, and because it's Snapchat, you can also see where people are located in these weird ways. So he's almost, I call it it's like you're building a portfolio that people can check out, they can look at your work and say, oh, I would like to work with this person, this seems like my alley. And you can, like, he's pulling people that way, and it's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
What?
It's great, and like Twitter is the same way. So
hang on. How does he use the
know?
people's location, or the people can see where he is?
Yeah, because it's Snapchat. When you're friends with people on Snapchat, you can like see where they are.
So hang on, but like someone would watch his Snapchat porn video and be like, oh, he's in Altrincham, and then like go to his house or like send him a message. Like
they would send him a message. So like honestly, it's like worldwide people are reaching out to this dude, which was such a weird thing because I tried real hard to chase him down like this month. Because I was like, I kind of like this guy, but then there's like a lot of competition. But then I was like, fuck it, I can compete. I'm ready to take this home. And like, it was such a weird scenario because you're kind of like trying to pick up on someone that is getting like sexual attention from a global scale, and it's like, you know, I'm just little old Brandon trying my best.
Is he in Manchester?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So is it like? What is the thrill? What is the appeal? Is it like sport? Is it like...
What do you mean?
Like, what is the appeal of posting on Snapchat and having all of these people chase after you? Like,
because it's a good way to meet people. First of all, you meet, like you kind of can meet people with similar interests. You can meet people like with him in particular. He's like a big dick top and he fucks real good. So he's got all of these thirsty bottoms chasing after him.
Okay.
So he's just like basically. It's like a shortcut. Like you don't have to, like they can just check out the part that they're interested in versus like going through all those things and being like, hey, what's up? What do you like? Here's a picture of me. Here's a picture. Like it's just more of an active communication thing than with Grindr where it's like, I imagine the same as Tinder where you just get into conversations with people that you don't know and then try and weave your way down that way.
So,
this is very specific to just like sex stuff, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, main complaints I wanted to get into. Main complaints of women, of guys on dating apps are...
What are they?
All they care about is just getting sex. That's all they want. All they want is to meet her. They'll put in minimal effort on the date. They'll take me for a 6-inch sub at Subway, bloody stroke the small of my back, and then expect a dick suck, right?
Right.
Guys on guys... Is there any, like, romance dates takeout, or is it still just guys jumping to the end?
It varies. You know what, with me, I've been in this weird thing where I have been just hoeing it up like crazy. And... But you turn a point after a while where you start to be like, maybe I kind of, like, I don't know, you get into a few situations where you're just like, that wasn't a fun one for me. And then you start to think, maybe I got to put, like, some guards up a little bit. And then, like... Whereas, like, with me, I'll be like I'll go on like a week where I just like hook up like fucking like every night of the week. A lot of times if I'm not doing comedy, I'm just like having sex.
Oh my god,
it's really fun. But and then like I'll hit this wall where I'm just like, I don't really want to do this anymore. Like it's not that you don't want to do it. It's more that you just start to look at it like differently and kind of feel bad about yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Or with me, what I've had recently is that like it seems like every motherfucker that I know is like dating someone, and now I'm like, I want love in my life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, whereas like I was just like blowing every guy in Manchester for a week, like someone new will come out and be like, let's go for coffee first, and it's a meaningless hoop because I might just end up hooking up. It's like it's such a weird thing trying to like. I don't know. Sorry, you got me really ramped up on this.
That's okay. No, yeah. I'm intrigued. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, we stumbled onto a thing where I'm right in the middle of sorting all this stuff out for myself, and it's fucking hard. It's like...
So you're stopping hoeing around now?
No.
Okay. the best answer to the podcast ever. Even the way you delivered it. No. No, I'm fucking not.
I'm just like, I'm trying different avenues. So I'm still hoeing around a little bit, but also I'm trying to like chat with people a bit more. I'm basically, in my brain, I have it where I'm keeping an eye out for a sweetie. I would like a sweetie in my life, and I'm trying to meet a person one way or another with that.
Have you got the opinion that you're not going to meet that person through online dating?
No, I don't have that opinion at all. I think that you can totally meet people through online dating.
But have you met anyone worth time and effort?
Who have I met that was actually... Yeah, I met a few contacty people. Yeah, there's like a handful.
Okay.
But
there's like a whole bucket full of...
Like, well, a lot of it is just through like friends of friends and stuff like that. So I kind of have like a little scene that I roll with. But also that tends to get like a little bit incestuous. So I'm trying to like reach out and like kind of meet new people and stuff like that. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, I'm also into like a lot of kink stuff. So like a lot of people that I meet through like the Pups scene or...
The what scene?
Okay, so Pups. It's like the gay guys that like to dress up like dogs and stuff like that. You know how I go like Aru every now and then I'll be like rah 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 rah, and I make like weird animal noises from time to time?
I've never noticed it, but I will only notice it.
100% is a thing that I do like day in day out at work on comedy shows. Like I just like throw it in, and it's like it's 100% just me making dog noises.
Okay. So hang on. So the scene is called the pup scene.
Yeah, like puppies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So two people dress up as puppies?
It's like more of a social thing. So like yeah, it's like this is the thing. Everyone's always like everyone thinks it's just like sex stuff. Like it's like that sort of thing.
Is this like furries but just for dogs?
Similar. I mean, I think the difference between pup and furries, to be honest, and I'm no expert, is just like
you are more of an expert than anybody I've ever spoken to. So definitely don't sit here and play yourself down.
Look, guys, I am just a babe in the woods trying to sort it out like all of you little newbies. But like, I think the difference between pup and furry is like, well, first of all, there's fur.
Yeah.
It's furry in the name. And then the pup scene tends to be like, it's more of an aesthetic of people with like the dog hoods. And then a lot of times there'll be harnesses. Like, you know how you see sometimes dogs that have like harnesses and things like that. There's butt plug tails, which are a thing. And then also it seems to be weirdly intermingled with like the rubber scene. So like there'll be like...
What's the rubber scene?
It's just people that like wear rubber. Okay, so you know that...
Okay.
Well, no, you're not from Britain. You wouldn't know the sketch. Yeah, it's just like people that like get like rubber and wear rubber out to nights and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you can have like a rubber like wrestling singlet or like a rubber like polo shirt, or like some people go like full like gimp suits and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, a lot of the people I know I just meet through that community because there's like weekly meetups, and then
where are these meetups?
In the village.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's all happening. So do you feel like were these scenes things that you knew about when you lived in Canada?
No, did I? That's a great question. I don't know, because I was like coming on 3 years ago, and I think I had an inkling, but I didn't really get into it until I moved to Manchester.
Is it because Manchester has a wider LGBT scene? Is that like there's more options for you here because there's more people, you have a place to go in the village,
and like, Manchester specifically has this cool thing about it where it's like the village is special because it is like the village. If you go to like, there's gay scenes in like London, but it seems so like sparse and they're like in different neighborhoods, but like Manchester's just collected in there. So like a lot of weird like stuff just fucking happens here. Like the pup scene is really big. The rubber thing, like I don't know my rubber history all that great, but it's huge in Manchester. Like there's this group called like the Manchester Rubbermen, and they have like pub crawls and stuff, and they're started like 10 years ago by this guy Cy Hands, and it is just like this weird like it's such a strange fetish because a lot of it seems to be like fashion based. So like people will come down for like a Rubbermen weekend,
right? And
they'll hang out in Manchester, and they'll be like events going on, so you can go and buy gear, or like there's like stuff to do every single night. and people are always talking about like the different looks that they're putting together, because it's very like you just buy this incredibly expensive clothing made out of rubber, and then you like try and put like cool like looks and stuff together with it. And then
Are these
also
scenes
because
expensive? Like, are these like the people in these scenes? Are they like having like high flying, serious jobs and lots of money?
no, I mean some of them are, but a lot of them are just like cool arty kids, I think, or just
Because I always associated like gay and lesbians with money because
Right.
they didn't need to have kids.
right.
That was a sort of
That's a false association. Like,
Okay.
I mean, maybe if you're an adult and you have a job, that all like plays up. But there's also, you got to think like a lot of people tend to be creative types. Yeah, like there's definitely that. Like, if you get a proper career and you go that route in life, and you're
Yeah.
a gay person, you don't
Doesn't
have
matter
kids.
about your sexuality.
Because you know what, Maddie? Fucking gay people can have kids.
I know you can have kids. You know, I know you can have kids, but like, you know what I mean. It is less common that a gay couple would have kids than a straight couple because there's challenges involved in doing so. Like,
Yeah, you have to do paperwork.
You have to put in effort.
Ugh.
You know,
Paperwork.
straight procreation of children. It's not really an awful lot of effort that goes into that. It's just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, you can just have it by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think the gay parents are sometimes could be better than straight parents because you had to put in so much effort to get that child. How is it going to be bad for that child to either have two mums or two dads?
I mean, that part doesn't matter, but you got to remember that gay people are all sorts of people, just like straight people are all sorts of people, and that I'm sure there's like a really toxic gay relationship that has adopted a child, and then that poor child is just like...
But it's not the
just
fact.
raised
It's
by these
not.
sniping gays.
But it's not. I get so weirded out why people are like, "Oh, it is not good for the child to have two parents of the
that's very
same
dumb.
gender."
That's very dumb.
That's just stupid. I was like, those two people, whether they be two men or two women, put in so much more effort to get a child than any straight couple has, unless that straight couple's obviously adopting. But even again, like, how does it work? You probably don't know
wanna
this,
know.
right?
How to like have a baby if you're gay?
No. Well, sort of.
Okay.
You know when you adopt a child, right?
Yes.
And like someone has to decide whether or not you're getting that child. Do they favour a straight couple over a gay couple, or how does it work?
I don't think... Oh, you mean like if you go to like an orphanage or something like
Yeah,
that?
like if they have
I
like
think
the
it's less
option.
orphanages these days, man. I think it's more like...
Where are you adopting kids from then?
Well, what you do is you get like surrogate parents. Now, this is like a giant thing that is happening. This is going to be one of those conversations. You ever listen to something on a podcast and then you know that it's like a thing that happened, but then you have to relate an entire podcast worth of information to someone you don't remember any of it?
Yeah.
This is that.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, couples were paying. I mean, I don't know about lesbians, but I know gay couples were paying like women from lower income countries to like basically carry a child to term for them, and then they would just take the baby afterwards. So it is like a thing. There's like services that you could go to where you would like.
How does that individual, that woman, how does the beginning start? Is it an injection of semen in, or is
I think
Because it's a bit
I
weird
think
if-
what it is it's a thing where it's like an egg from someone that they've chosen and then gets put into that person's body.
Oh, so the already fertilized embryo just gets put into that person?
Yeah.
No way, and that person just has to grow.
A whole baby and then
But
poop
no
the baby.
parts of them are involved in that baby. They are just the growing unit for it.
I don't think so.
That's insanity.
Yeah, it's really... Well, it's not that bad. You know, straight people do it too. Like, I know Elizabeth Banks had to have that done because her womb don't work. I think... Fact check this.
Don't fact check it. It's funnier if you don't fact check.
That's a thing that I also heard on a podcast one time, that she is like big into like this idea that, and how it's not a big thing because it's just a way for like people to have kids, and like there are people that just make their entire living off of just getting pregnant all the time and then just carrying kids to term.
That's insanity.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
That can't be good for your health. But like
Why
again,
not? Cows do it.
we're not cows, Brandon.
We're better. Yeah, we could do, you know, anything a cow could do, I could do. What? Well, I feel like I'm better than. I feel like humans are better than cows.
Can you eat grass?
Yeah, if I wanted to.
Do you want to go down and test it?
No,
Because it'll make great online content.
I don't want to. Well, I don't want to. I also, here's the difference between me and a cow. I have the choice as to whether or not I'm going to eat grass, and I choose no.
You've really got me on this one.
Yeah. See, a cow make that argument.
So, can I ask you?
What do you want to know?
This leads on perfectly to my next question, which is a favourite question of mine, and I feel like you're going to have a great answer. If you could be any animal for the rest of your life, right now, like tomorrow is like 9 a.m, you change to be this animal, and that is it for the rest of your life, what would you be?
For the whole rest of my life.
You never.
Do I have the brain of a Brandon, or do I have the brain of an animal? The animal.
No, you have the brain of Brandon, but you're inside an animal.
I think. I was thinking we had to do this at work as an icebreaker, and I chose a mouse. Because I think it would be fun to live inside of a wall and eat cheese all day. And I also think if I had the brain of a Brandon and I was a mouse, I could like do the thing where I would like steal like a thimble and a button, and I would make a little table. And I would really like make a home inside of that thing. And then it would be really funny. Like at a certain point I would draw attention to myself, and people would be like, holy shit, he's like living a whole life in here. And it would be basically like I was Stuart Little.
See, I would want to be a dolphin.
A dolphin?
Yeah.
Why?
Because dolphins just look like they're having so much fun. You ever seen a sad
They're
dolphin?
always smiling.
Even the dolphins in captivity look like they're having a laugh.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're just having fun. And you're big, and you're powerful, and you're nice and smooth.
Like a mouse?
But like no one fucks with a dolphin. You hang out in packs, right? You hang out with all your mates, right?
Wait, would you want to be a dolphin in captivity or like a dolphin in the ocean?
I'd like to be a dolphin in the ocean, but dolphins in the ocean, you never just see one dolphin by itself, do you? You always see. Have you ever seen a dolphin?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good.
I haven't real life because I've been to an amusement park.
Okay, but you've never seen a wild dolphin?
No.
Okay, well, wild dolphins. I've seen dolphins maybe 6 times in my life. They are never on their own.
That's cool.
They're always doing shit.
Do you feel like that's a thing with you? Like, how do you do in isolation?
Not great. That's why you're here.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't like being alone. Well, like I do. So I do like being alone, but only when I want to be alone.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That's me at this house. That's why I don't know the names of any of these people, because I like being with people and I'm out with people all the time. And then when I'm like when I want to be alone, which is basically when I'm home, I just want to be alone. So I just hide out in my room all day.
Correct. So like, for example, like this morning, my girlfriend was here. Cam was here, we're all cooking breakfast, we're all talking, we're watching the TV together, it's all fantastic, right?
Yeah.
My girlfriend goes to work, he goes to his room, and I'm just sitting out here, and I'm like, whew, bit of peace and quiet, like, it's good. But then I'm like, in 2 hours, I've got a podcast, and I've got someone else coming. So it's like, I have these small periods of like time by myself. I'm not like, oh, I can't bear to be alone, like I'm scared of being by myself, like some people are. But I don't like it. Like sometimes I'm just like, this is boring. Who can I talk to? Like, you know, who can I ring? Who can I like, you know, get involved? If there's no one here, I'll just fucking ring someone if I'm really bored.
That's
like, what are you doing?
You know, my mom gets lonely all the time. My mom's a weird one, but she'll get like bummed out because people aren't like talking to her or stuff like that. But she never makes the step. She never makes the step to just like reach out and be like, hey, what's going on?
That's what I didn't understand.
I do that like nonstop. Like if I'm just like bored, I'll just like go through like WhatsApp and look at who I've not talked to in a while and just be like, yo, and just like start a shit ton of conversations.
What I also enjoy.
I'm very popular.
Me too. What I also enjoy doing is going back through Instagram on like people who I went to school with and I haven't seen in like 6-7 years, and I'll just be like, what are they doing? And then I see something real cool, and one girl's like working for like the rugby league organisation in Australia, and she's like on like the fucking TV like interviewing rugby players. I sent her a message. I was like, man, that looks like you're having so much fun. Like, well done. She's like, oh my
really
God.
Good person. Like I can't go on Instagram or Facebook a lot of times because I get too insanely jealous of how fucking good everybody's life seems to be.
Oh, but these people's lives aren't that great.
I know.
Like they are cool. Like
so
hers is cool, but then I see like this other kid. Like I talk shit about him on a podcast. He was crazy, right? He sort of went to our school, but he sort of didn't. Like he had the uniform, but I don't think he like paid his fees to the school. but he wouldn't attend class, right? You'd be in class, and next thing he'd just leap through a window and just take a seat at his desk. And then he'd last
He would literally leap.
Jump through windows.
From what floor is this on?
Oh, this is all ground floor. The's no multi-story buildings.
Why are the windows open?
Because it's hot.
Okay, so it's just a wide open window he would jump through.
Yeah.
Would he land on a
I love
counter?
how you're like, what story is this? I was like, we did not have multi-story buildings. We had so much fucking land. You just put single-story buildings everywhere.
That's like Canada, man.
Oh my god! But he would get
land.
into the class, and then next thing you know, he'd like we're in like a science class. He's walked in, put a lab coat on, right, and then he just starts melting highlighters and Bunsen burners, and there's just toxic plumes of smoke.
Some kids in school are just really crazy.
I know. And then the teacher would be like, "What are you doing? Like you're not even in this class." And again, lab coat off, leap out the window, be gone. So he was just like this enigma.
Fucking close your windows.
It's hot.
It's not worth it. You have a crazy person jumping into classes.
But you never knew when he was going to arrive, and like he would be.
That's insane.
He would be on the register for some classes.
This isn't okay.
And there was like teachers that didn't even know what he looked like, but then there was other teachers who would always have a big reaction to his arrival, and he would just keep coming back to their class. So he might jump into 4 different classes a day for the same teacher just because he knows it winds them up. Right? He was just a shit. So I was like, what's Kyle Strello doing? I looked up. He's now a videographer. He was making like ads for like the Commonwealth Games.
That's really cool.
And I'm just like, good job, man. I was like, I thought you'd be in prison. And I sent him the link of what I said about him on the podcast, and he was like, I don't appreciate that. I was like, well, that's the end of our chat.
What? He got mad?
Yeah, well, I wasn't that kind to him. I just told the truth. But he was like,
Was it this exact story?
Basically,
Yeah.
probably like a little bit more like hectic. Like I didn't speak as highly of him when I told the story because
You
I
didn't
sort of,
realize he was
downplayed
a
it.
famous videographer. And you
He's
didn't
not
have to start
famous.
sucking
He's
his
just,
dick.
he's just like he's just working. He's actually like providing something to the world, and I never thought that would be possible.
Yeah.
because of what a cavalier renegade he was. Like he was just crazy.
Totally.
So that's all it is. That's what I enjoy doing.
That's a good thing. I mean, you're finding like positive things out of stuff.
Yeah, I'd never look at someone and be like, you're going shit. You just had another baby. Best of luck with that, idiot.
I've been starting to get like that a little bit because everybody has babies on Facebook, and I'm just kind of like, oh.
How do you feel about babies?
I mean, I love babies. Babies are great, but like
Not your baby.
it's with my family. I'm fine. Even like general babies, I'm happy when people have babies, but it's like. I don't know. It's just fucking Facebook can get so braggy sometimes.
Yes.
Everybody's just like pimping their shit all the time, and then there'll be one person talking about killing themselves, and that's Facebook.
You also have a great joke about Facebook as well. Like,
Thank you!
It's so fun. Where, like, how often do you sit at home and have like nothing in your head, and then just a joke just pops into your head? Or do you really have to work at this?
I gotta work like a mofo. I just basically reflect on the thing over and over and over again. And then occasionally, like if I do pull something just naturally, it just comes from me like talking to someone. And then I'll say something funny, and then I'll just like take out my phone and very quickly write it down and then try and weave it into something later.
I'm going to ask you a random question.
Yeah, what do you got?
You ever been in an ambulance?
Yes. Yeah, because I dislocated my shoulder snowboarding when I was
Really?
like 17 or something like that.
In Canada?
Yeah, it was in Canada. It was on a snowboarding hill.
That's a good place to go snowboarding, because if you told me you were snowboarding in a parking lot, I'd be concerned.
Did you hear? There's a fucking thing in this country where they snowboard without snow. They lay down like what am I doing here?
You're moving your forearms back and forth.
It's like a weave. It's like a weaved tarp thing that has like a bunch of like rectangles or something in it. It's like basically they like lay down this strange like meshy tarp thing onto a hill, and then people snowboard down it. But it's not snow. It's just they're going on a tarp, and it's like all like just ground underneath. It's like my boss told me about this, and we looked it up, and it's it's kind of the dumbest thing I've ever seen, to be honest. I'm like, just get some snow. Go to a place where there's snow.
Yeah, just go on fucking holiday.
Yeah.
Ryanair has
Yeah.
very affordable flights to somewhere that's not here.
Yeah, you can get the fuck out and go do it. You don't have to like make this weird fake thing. Like it's like the Wilson volleyball equivalent of a friend.
Mom, Dad, I'm just going outside to snowboard. But honey, there's no snow. I'll make it work. Who came up with that? Who's literally sitting in fucking Hull being like, oh man, I wish there was snow here. And then...
I don't know. Probably just some dummy. There was this crazy thing. I was not here for this. I only saw videos of it. But back in my hometown, there was a... at the ski hill in the summer, it's just a regular hill, right? And
I getcha.
And anyway, so what
for some reason I had to take a moment to picture a hill without snow on it.
Yeah.
I was like,
You got it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so
Gotcha.
imagine it's the summertime. It's super hot. It's super nice. What they did is they took like a giant, like one of those blue mat tarps and like just rolled it down this thing. And they brought like a water truck out.
You had a water slide?
They made a big... crazy water slide, and people like it was all soaked up and stuff, and they would like it was like a giant like ski hill size slip and slide. So dangerous, so crazy.
That's
and
every day in Australia. Do you want to
Really?
hear the craziest slip and slide story?
I love
ever?
it. Yes.
Have
Yes,
you
yes.
have you finished yours? Are you?
I mean, that's pretty much it. They just did that. Yeah, the end.
Okay. Beautiful. So I went to a Catholic high school.
Sure.
Okay. Now Catholicism, great religion, right? Wonderful people, thick as fuck. So they get this black tarp, right? And it's hot. It's fucking hot. And you know what color doesn't agree with hot? Black.
Right.
Right, black draws in heat. So they lay out this black tarp, and to secure it, right, they get big, like, cinder block bricks.
Oh my goodness
like,
gracious.
huge bricks, and put it at points down either side to weigh it down.
Now
right?
I'm going to make a prediction.
Yes.
As to where this story is going.
Okay.
People hit those bricks.
By people, you mean me.
Did you?
I'll show you my leg.
Bae.
Is it this leg? There. See the scar there on that leg?
Yeah.
That is from careering on my knees into a brick.
That's crazy.
So-
Really bad idea.
Yeah, so basically, right, the tarp is hot. They start putting like cold water down it, right? We're putting soap on it. This is at school.
Yeah.
This is at lunchtime at school. And it's like, oh, well, on your lunch break, there's fucking water slide on the hill. And like schools obviously have like a fuckload of land
Yeah.
in Australia. So we had this, actually, no, this was in New Zealand. This was New Zealand when I lived in New Zealand. So I was like 11 at this point. So it was like just like this big hill.
Thank you for making that distinction that nobody cares about.
Sorry. I was just thinking about the story. I was like,
that was very rude.
and I was like, none of my schools in Australia had that. And I was like, no, it was New Zealand. Right. So anyway, still a fucking hot day.
it's
right?
like when I try and tell people I'm from Canada, not America. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever.
No one gives a fuck. So anyway, we jump on, and the first person goes down the slide, right, and gets like halfway down. It's like, wee, having fun. And then it's like, because it's been in the fucking sun. It's so hot, and
Yeah.
the water hasn't trickled down. So then bare skin is sliding across this hot plastic and literally just like burning up the
This is
legs, like the
crazy.
backs of the legs, right? So then they're like, we need like more water down here. So the person with the hose goes down to the bottom and like soaks it, right? But it's all just getting evaporated. And then people are going down, right? We're like skidding. But the problem is there was nothing at the end to stop you. So you'd skid down the black slide and then it would end and it would just be grass. And then you'd just like doof, 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 doof
That's
along
what
the
I
grass.
was wondering, because I didn't go to this thing at the ski hill that day, and I was just like, what happens when you run out of tarp?
Yeah.
You're just on the ground.
I know, you just keep going. So it was fun as fuck, right? And
Yeah.
so we were like, oh, we'll just fucking do it on our knees. Like we'll run and we'll like start on our ass and then like work our way to the knees. And basically I went down with this other dude, which was a bad idea, right? And we obviously jumped down together, right? He went sort of this way and I went this way and I sort of tried to correct. So I went down off my knees onto my ass, veered this way and literally just clipped my leg on the side and just went like bang and like spun around and like off the side of the slide.
Wow.
But was going so quick because we were sprinting onto it and then like sliding all the way down. It was so bad. He made it to the bottom, safe and sound. My legs cut to shit because I've just hit this brick. They still didn't stop it. People still went down, and another 2 people hit the bricks. Unbelievable.
And that's
imagine sending
where
your
they
kids
came
to
up with
school.
the phrase, hit the bricks.
You're the dumbest cunt. But imagine sending your kids to school. Like, I came home with like a huge fucking bandage on my leg and everything. And Mum's like, "What happened to your leg?" I was like, "Oh, well, I had a water slide at school and they put bricks on it and I ate them." And she goes, "Oh, that's no good." Like,
Aww.
Imagine now if you sent a kid home with a huge fucking gash on his leg and they were like, "Oh, they had a fucking homemade water slide at school."
But can you do a math? You're only like 22, right?
Yeah, this was when I was 11. This is like 12 years ago. But even then, like, you still can't do that now.
I wonder, has that changed in Australia as well? Because I know that like North America
Can't do anything
very,
without
like,
a permission slip.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the fun is gone, but also, are kids still getting unnecessarily injured? Like, you were a supply teacher.
Yeah.
Are kids still getting fucked up? Like,
Jesus, I think so. I would imagine so.
because kids are dumb and like you have to learn these lessons. So now I look at these situations. Like, we were in Cambodia and we were like climbing up this fucking waterfall, and then the guy's like, "Just sit on the end of this waterfall and just cross your legs and your arm and just like fall in." And it's like this,
That's really fun.
This slide down these fucking rocks. You're on rocks,
yeah,
right? But there's water going over you, and it's like you'll sort of just like meander down in there. He's like, "It's really fun." He's like, "It's quite far." And I'm looking at it going, "This is so dumb. There is no safety here. This man can barely speak English.
Yeah.
He won't stop chain smoking, right? He's literally smoked like 20 cigarettes while we've climbed this hill." Unbelievable fitness. But I was like, how can we trust him? So we let this girl from Stoke, ironically in England, go first. And she went down, hit the bottom, and literally didn't come up for ages. And she had a life jacket on. And we were all like, "Oh, shit,
insane.
She's not coming up." It was just that she was just a shit swimmer. Just British people can't swim. But then Cam, my mate, went and he was fine, and I was like, okay, it must be fine. And there was literally nowhere else to go. Like, you had to go down this waterfall,
right?
Because it's like trees, and then waterfall here. So I just did it, but I was like looking at it, I was like, this is just like the bricks.
yeah, you're great, your arch enemy.
Yeah. Do you feel like you think about things like consequences more now, or have you not injured or hurt yourself enough?
Oh, since like the dislocated shoulder thing? I mean, no, I don't really think about consequences, to be honest.
Do you feel like if you'd got more fucked up as a kid, like you'd had more injuries? Was that like your most serious injury?
I was a real like indoorsy kid. Like, I went through this phase where like I wouldn't do anything. Like my family would want to go out and like, you know, go snowmobiling or something like that, and I would like, "Okay, let's go." And then like 5 minutes before, I'd be like, "I kind of just want to play video games." And then like everyone else would leave the house and go have fun. I'd be like, "This is lonely." But it was like this thing where I was like legit like just afraid to do stuff, like because it was I used to be really afraid of not being good at things like that. Okay. Do you know what I mean? So like, because I wasn't good and I didn't know what was going on, I wouldn't want to do it at all. I wasn't as afraid of getting hurt.
Don't want to take a risk in case of failure, basically, or try something new in the case of failure.
Just because I didn't want to look dumb. And I was like, this is something I don't know, whatever, I just won't learn. But that's just like...
I was the complete opposite. Where I would do things that I knew I was shit at, and it would almost be funny if I would like get hurt or be bad at it.
Yeah, totally.
But I did that so many times.
But that's a really good way to be, because it's like an outgoing perspective on life, which is something that I feel like I've picked up now, but
now I feel like I don't do dumb stuff. Like, I don't put my body on the line as much as I used to.
You don't put your body... Who are you?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would, so we went on this like camp, right?
Don't put my body on the line.
We went on
Life ain't worth living if you're not risky.
We went on this camp, right? So I've got ADHD. You may or may not know, right? And there was this thing called ADHD camp, and basically you get a bunch of kids with ADHD and their families, take them to a beach.
They should call it ADHD CAMP.
Okay,
that's my contribution to this story.
So. Do you know
Did they ever think of that?
No, because not a lot of thinking goes on at these camps. Just a lot of hyperactivity. Do you know what a sea biscuit is?
It's a horse that won a race.
No.
It is.
Do you know what a donut is, like dragged behind a boat?
Oh yeah, like a little, like an inner tube or whatever.
Yeah. But it's got like handles on it and that, and you like lie on it or you sit in it. Anyway,
yeah, totally.
Okay. You guys have like lakes and shit in Canada. You should know what this is.
We do have lakes, yes.
You ever been towed behind a boat in one of them?
Yeah, all the time. My family used to go like every summer.
Beautiful. So imagine that, right? And imagine you bring the boat in and the Seabiscuit is like bouncing behind, right? And the boat turns just before it gets to shore and the Seabiscuit comes and it basically like hits land.
Right.
Well, what we're trying to do at like 13 maybe, right, is get the Seabiscuit as you're coming around full clip and jump out of it, right, and then just walk along the beach.
That's amazing.
Right? That's what we're trying to do, right?
Did it happen?
And of course it didn't, Brandon. It's impossible.
Why not?
It's so dumb.
You get a long enough rope.
Because what would happen? No one was able to do it. No one was even like really getting close to the shore because the guy in the boat was being a pussy, right? And I told him, I was like, you get me on that beach. I was like, you turn right at the last second. I was like, I want to swing around. I'm going to walk up like a fucking G. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. He was like, okay. And I was like, get me on the beach. I was like, I'm going to jump out and walk off. And he's like, righto. So he comes up, right? The boat turns. I'm literally skidding behind here. The shore's at like this mug here. I get to like here. I go to like jump out of the biscuit, but like I don't have enough momentum. All the momentum is in the biscuit, right? As it's going around. So I put my foot down and literally just go boom.
Oh,
and get sucked out underneath it. And literally my face just hits the fucking sand.
That's great.
And gets like basically concussed. Like I was fucked up.
Yeah, totally.
And that was the day over. Like, this is what I mean.
But you want to do more things like that.
Not now. Like I've done enough. Like I've done enough stupid stuff. We were like kayaking as a group at school, right? Yeah. On like a school camp. I went on a lot of camps. I realized the other day.
Your parents were just like, get him out of this house.
Yeah, because they couldn't stand me, and like we'd have like
Wait, your parents really couldn't stand you?
I was hard work as a child. So it would be like I'd have 2 camps a year at school, then would be a part of church. So you get 2 or 3 church camps a year, and then you get 2 ADHD camps a year. So I was doing like 6 or 7 camps a year. It's like one every 2 months.
That's a lot of camping.
It's a lot of camps.
Yeah.
So it would be like kayaking, or do you call it kayak or canoe?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're in a canoe, you're canoeing. If you're in a kayak,
do you know what they are though?
We call it kayaking.
Okay, cool. I just fuck you, man.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being very mean to you for not a lot of reasons.
Have you ever kayaked in a group of people?
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever got the burning desire to just tip yourself out of your own kayak just for some excitement?
I've not. Although I do like jumping out. I feel. Can you do that in a kayak? If you're out, can you get back in easy enough?
Yes, a kayak easier than a canoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most kids, it's fun to tip other people out of kayaks, right? Yeah. And that sort of behaviour started happening. And I was like, might as well bite the bullet and just like flip myself out of the kayak. Just because.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun.
You know, one of the dumbest things I ever did
here we go.
Was, okay, so you may not know this about me, but I grew up in a small town, and I was a rough and tumble farm kid growing up.
Really?
I used to chew a lot of tobacco. I used to wear a lot of plaid shirts. You're looking at me incredulously, but it's very, very true.
You really used to chew tobacco?
Oh yeah, mate. Like right up until I went to England, basically. Like, because I had such a hard time quitting it, and my whole family, like, not all of them, but like 2 of my brothers still chew all the time. So like whenever we would get together for Christmas, we would just all be chewing tobacco.
Do you know what Swedish snus is?
Yeah, it's like this little finer thing, and I can't remember if you put it in your nose.
You put it in the inside of your lip here, and it just soaks into the lip.
Totally,
it's good fun.
I'm staying away though, because the thing I liked about moving here is that I basically could be like, well, there's no chewing tobacco here. And I'm sure there is chewing tobacco here if I went and found it, but I was just like, it doesn't exist in this country. I'm gonna quit, and I like. Because of like that mentality, and also not seeing anybody doing it all the time. Like, so
you didn't smoke, but you just chewed?
No, I just chewed a shit ton of tobacco. I used to like do it nonstop because I have a really addictive personality when I like give into stuff. But yeah, I would like, and chewing tobacco is great because you can just chew all day, every day. It's not like smoking where you have to go outside or some dumb shit like that. You can just like always be chewing tobacco, and yeah, so anyway, this is a very side story, but I used to basically be a farm kid. There was a point in my life, actually, where I was like the one in line to take over our family's farm, and then I kind of like...
What were you farming?
Oats.
Okay.
That year I was farming oats. Generally, the farm does like wheat, canola, barley, peas, and oats. And
amazing.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And... this is going to lead to so many weird stories. Okay, so anyway, so this thing, the thing that happened, it was like when I was a teenager, I was like combining, which is when you're like driving along and you're picking this up and you're collecting all the seed in this big, like huge, hulking piece of farm equipment. And I was like full up and I was like motoring across the field to get to the truck to unload, right? And I just have this thing pinned and I'm just sitting there and waiting because it's like a farm equipment. So you're, even when it's going fast, you're just kind of sitting there being like,
yeah, you're just waiting for something to happen.
yeah, totally. And I was sitting there and I was just like going along. I was like, this is not...
How old are you at this point?
I'm like 16, 15.
Okay.
I'm humming along. I'm like, this motherfucker is not that fast. I was like I bet you I'm fucking faster than this thing. And I was like, I like...
You bet that you were faster.
I was like, I think I'm faster than this fucking... I don't know, like, I was just like, I bet you... Like, I even, like, I clipped it down a little bit, and I was like, I think I can do this. And then, like, I basically opened this thing up, because it's a big open field, so there's just, like, you don't have to be, like, steering it, per se. I opened the door to the thing, I stepped out of the cab, and went to the ground, I was like, I'm fucking definitely faster than this. And I, like... got down to the ladder, like right next to the ground. I like just kind of like jumped off of this thing, and it was going way faster than I thought it was. So I jump off, I like hit the ground, and because you're jumping out of a moving thing, immediately like your feet go up from under you. I like tumble roll, and I like look up, and all I see is this like fucking like, swear to God, like $300,000 piece of like equipment just like barreling down the thing, and no one's in it. And I was like, fuck.
Oh no.
And I just like, I had to get up and I had to like dead sprint and just barely caught onto the ladder and then like quickly climbed up onto it and like got in.
So no one caught you doing this? Like if your parents had seen you do this, no more fun.
And I didn't tell them. I am abnormally honest. Like I blurt out every secret that I have at every opportunity, and I kept it in for like 5 years. And
That's
then I
crazy.
told them eventually, but it was like, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
So how fast was it going?
Pretty fast.
Was it that thing of like when you're in a plane or when you're in a highway and whatever, and like you look around and there's nothing else around you, you don't really know how fast you're going, and you're sort of just like cruising, but then when you get out and you're like next to it, was it that sort of mentality? Because there was nothing around you to measure it by.
Well, it was just really boring because I had to go for a long distance was the thing. It was more the fact that I was just sitting there being like, I was just bored and stir crazy because like with Harvest, you're just doing the same thing for like weeks on end. And
so why didn't you stay to be a farmer?
Because there's no gay people in my hometown. It's a really weird... It got so wanky and weird, that whole thing.
So wanky because you were wanking a lot?
I was definitely wanking a lot because there was no one... I always say that point in my life, I was theoretically gay because I was gay, but not in practice.
But you couldn't act on it.
Yeah, it's just there's no... There was like 3 weirdos in the town. There was one guy that... I met up with all of them. One of them...
like gay weirdos or just weirdos?
Just gay weirdos. There are a lot more real weirdos. There are many, many, many weirdos. 3 gay ones.
Okay.
Also, the Venn diagram of gay and weirdos was like just a circle, and then the little edge that was outside of it was me.
So you're the only not gay weirdo, but
that's my impression. Yeah, like
would the weirdos have included you in their group?
There was no group. There was just like a guy living in a motel. There was like a dude that like his way of kissing was he would rub his tongue over your teeth.
You kissed this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. It's because there was no other options there.
I basically went through the gamut, and it was all off of like Grindr was like not a lot going on, so it was literally like I was finding people on Plenty of Fish because everybody was so secretive and like shitty about it. It's a weird place, and this is the thing that drives me crazy about that fucking town is that like I was back home for the summer, right? I was back home for the summer after like 2 years in Manchester, which is a lovely gay city in, for now, Europe. So you got all the European like levels of, I don't know, so people are just generally more open about sex and stuff like that. And I just like found like my gay scene and my gay community for like the first time in my whole life, and then I got ripped away from it and I had to go back to Canada to get a visa this summer. And I was home and I was back in this hometown and I was just like I felt like a crazy person because I was looking around and I was seeing all this stuff and I was like, this is bullshit. This is crazy. Like, I was like getting weird looks from people and I couldn't tell if it was like just in my head or if they were like judging me or whatever. And also like,
what were you doing when you were getting a weird look?
Okay, so while I was home, I was queering it up like a motherfucker because I was so angry at this redneck town that I grew up in. So I was like, I had like these baller pair of like really fucking short shorts that I was wearing the whole time. And I'm like a tall man, like I got legs for days. So if I'm wearing short shorts, like I'm wearing short shorts, right? And like that, and just like every like girls' tops, like I was just like queering it the fuck up, and I could just kind of feel this weird judgment coming in, but it was really hard to put my finger on it. I'm trying to talk to my family about it, and they're just telling me, like, no, it's like different now. Like there's like one gay guy that was in high school, and everybody was fine with him, and I was like, I mean that's good, but that's just the one. I just couldn't like communicate this idea of what was bothering me.
But it didn't feel like home, or it did feel like home, but home didn't feel comfortable.
Well, yeah, I mean that's it precisely. Like it was home as I remembered it. But it's also been evolving and changing. Like it is better than what it was, but it's still like nowhere fucking near anything that is like remotely acceptable. I went to the gym and there was just, this is a weird thing because I went to the gym and there was like a little like leaderboard on like the wall. And this is going to sound like such like little small scale bitching, but there was like, everybody's name on there. And then like some guy that was clearly a friend of like the other guy on this leaderboard, like wrote like blows dudes or whatever is like next to the little thing on the wall in the gym. So it's basically just like that joke of being like, you're gay. And that drove me crazy because that was like, I was like,
as
what?
An insult?
Yeah, like it was the idea. It's this thing of just saying, and I know it's like really sensitive and like really like it's such a small scale thing, and these people don't mean it in a hurtful way, but it is like it's those jokes that you make when there aren't those people in your community. I can't tell you the amount of fucking like people in that town still like just drop the N-word and like it's and they're not doing it in a hateful way. They're not like calling people up, but they're just like.
What town is it? What's it called?
It's called Fairview, Alberta.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
That does make more sense.
Just the name of the town?
No. Just the fact it's in Alberta. Like, I think you're like the second person I've met from Alberta. And
it's
like,
redneck Canada.
For some reason, I thought you were from Vancouver.
No, that would be great.
Yeah. Vancouver's like super the other way, isn't it? Like, super lefty.
Super lefty, which is, has its own levels of weird annoyances. But yeah, it was just really hard being back home for the summer. It bothered me. And my whole family, I also, by the way, I was completely obnoxious about this as well, because my little brother Darren, he lives there and he loves that town and he doesn't have hate in his heart and he's a good person. And from his perspective, it's all fine because he fits in with that scene really well. And I hadn't seen him for 2 years, and then when we were hanging out this summer, I spent the entire time just non-stop shitting on this place that he loves. And he's so polite. He was just sitting there being like, but then I later on I had to apologize because I knew that I was fucking bugging the fuck out of him.
That's like me with England and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Literally, I wake up, I look outside and I go, oh, fucking raining again. What a shithole. Why the fuck am I here?
Yeah.
And she's like, this is my home.
I know. It's a tough one to balance.
Do you like living in England?
I love living in England. Manchester is the greatest city I've ever lived in. By far. It's
because I think I want to go to Canada. I think they'll get me more there.
I mean, Matt, you gotta find your people, baby.
I really like the look of Toronto.
Toronto,
Whistler, Vancouver. Either work in a ski resort.
I think you would do. I think you honestly should. It would kind of sewer comedy for a little bit because there won't be any comedy around there. But it's not a bad idea to just have new experiences. And honestly, mate, fucking 2 years in a ski resort would be fun times. Yeah, so many people from Australia do that.
Yeah, no, it seems like a common thing. I think one of the attractions that I had towards coming here is that I know nobody else that has done what I've done,
Yeah.
which is just rock up in Manchester, get a house, get a job, and just start living.
It's a crazy thing to do. And I think when you're like
London's common, but Manchester, no. And then like having a holiday around Europe, common. During like the summer, oh, we're going to Europe, amazing.
Yeah.
Not just get a house and start living. Like,
yeah, it's like it takes a lot to actually up and move to a new country. You start to think it's not a big deal because you've done it, and like also when you do stand up, everyone you know is kind of like, especially here, it's more of an international flavor.
everyone's a drifter.
Yeah, but like not a lot of people have the fucking balls to like just up and leave. People don't have the balls to leave their hometown, let alone their like country, and go to a whole new place. Now, bear in mind, moving to England is not really the same because it's not really moving to a new country rather than moving to like a weird alternate dimension version of the same country.
Yeah.
I think the language thing.
If I
really
moved to
helps.
Cambodia permanently, that would be gangster.
Yes. That would be like the next level of like, holy shit, this person's like a seasoned traveler. Like I feel good about being here internationally, but it's also 100% a cheat because it was just like the next closest thing. Yeah.
It's not that big of a difference.
I don't think so. I mean, there are differences, but it's like they're very manageable.
Are you saying I should move to like South Sudan?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Just fucking see if you can fix it. You might be the answer they've been waiting for.
Maybe. I mean, I'm the answer that England's been waiting for if you listen to my stand-up set.
Really?
Because I've been solving a lot of problems with this country.
What have you been solving?
Dentistry, men, alcoholism,
Right.
the weather.
That's a lot of problems.
And the people themselves, and just how fucked they are in the head.
I'm sure they love that.
Northerners, working class Northerners love it.
Yeah.
Middle class, upper class Southerners hate it because they don't think it's them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They don't think it's them. When I talk about British people as a whole, they go, "Oh, he's talking about the North."
Yeah.
And then I get up north, and they just go, "Yeah, we don't go to the dentist, and we are alcoholics."
England is fucked because there's so many. It's like there's a billion little pocket countries within it. It's really hard to wrap your brain around. Yeah.
Is Canada not like this?
I don't think so. I think it's generally province by province, and there's only 10 of those. Yeah, it's less. Like, like this is just the amount of accents that are here, and like everybody has their own very specific way of talking, and they can tell you like exactly where that person is from. And also like make the other part of that equation is they're not only identifying where the other person is from, but they're coming up with their own weird
judgment.
British brand of racism. Like British people, they didn't have people of other colors, so they just had to invent their racism based on location. So now they're just like, oh, you're from Bristol.
Do you know what's so funny? We've done over an hour now, right?
Yeah.
But the last podcast I did with Dean ended the exact same way. He told a story about when he went to Sheffield, right? And he was standing in a pub just talking to his mate, both from Liverpool, and these two girls just went, "Oh, they're from Liverpool," and just like walked away. Like they couldn't bear to be near them with those horrible Scouse accents.
It's wild, man. That's a really crazy accent. I've started doing a joke about Liverpool in my set, and I say that the Scouse accent is basically like every Scouse person sounds like a different pirate ship has come to life. It's one of my new favorite lines.
Adam Hughes says he sounds like if you stuck a piece of paper into a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's crazy. Adam is so hard to understand.
As you like rub the skin off your face, like, oh, so hard. Right. Well, thank you very much, Brandon. Do you want to make a shout out to anyone? Your mum, your brother?
All my loved ones and all the ones who love me. I love you guys.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Brandon.
Welkies.